Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining this second cluster workshop, this online cluster workshop. After we organized the first one on the 16th of November last year, based on the positive responses and the interaction that took place, the clusters decided to organize a second workshop and to give you some more insights about how the clusters work, what we do. The first one was more general, dedicated to the way the clusters are set up, how they work, and the impact and content of the projects. So this time, today, we will focus on a more specific topic, namely the evaluation, labeling, and the reviewing and monitoring of cluster projects. As you know, a very important part of the core activities of the clusters is to support and organize, facilitate the development, submission, and selection of collaborative R&D and innovation projects within the different cluster communities. And these activities, they illustrate very well the public-private character of the clusters via involvement of the public authorities and tech experts within the cluster communities. So today we give you some more dedicated and detailed information about how we work to support the setup and the submission and the evaluation, and after that the coaching and monitoring of the projects that are being executed. As you can see here, there's an overview of the agenda, the program that consists of 3 parts. The first part is related to the explanation of these activities, of the evaluation and the monitoring processes by 2 cluster representatives, Aritz Artesh from SMART and Xavier Priem from Celtic. After that, we'll have 2 testimonials. First of all, a testimonial from an SME that will highlight the value of mentoring and coaching and support from the clusters. And a second testimonial will be given by an expert that will be more dedicated to the evaluation model. This is Paul Merkes from the TU Eindhoven, the Netherlands, and the SME invited is Emilio Molet from Accuro Technologies in Spain. And finally, we have quite some time for a question and answer. So you can leave your questions until after the presentations, and of course you can also write them in the chat in between. Yeah, the discussion, the interaction is supposed to take place after the presentations. So this is the overview of the agenda. I would like to continue by giving the floor to Aritz, who will give us some more background about the evaluation and the labeling processes. So Aritz, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you, Jan. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aritz Arteche, as Jan said, and I'm the program coordinator of SMART, the cluster on advanced manufacturing. In the following minutes, I will try to give you an overview of the process that goes from the submission of the proposal until the labeling of those proposals. First of all, I would like to explain that in this process, most of the clusters work in a 2-stage procedure. Those 2 stages are the PO phase, the project outline phase, and the FPP phase, the full project proposal phase. And I said most of the clusters, because there's one which is Celtic that only procedure, which would be the equivalent of the full project proposal phase directly. So taking that in mind, I want to explain you that there are 2 deadlines. The first one is the deadline regarding the PO phase. In that deadline, the cluster offices receive the proposals, the project outlines, and we run a quick check on some critical aspects regarding eligibility criteria of those proposals. Mainly, I'm talking about if there are at least 2 industrial partners from 2 different EUREKA countries, and also we check if the budgets are balanced between the countries, mainly. Once we have checked those eligibility criteria, we assign those proposals to the experts that each one of the clusters have in their communities. This expert pool is formed by experts coming from industry and also in many cases from academia. This assignment that we do, in this assignment that we do, we try to match the proposals to the expertise and experience of those evaluators. And in this assignment, at least we have 2 evaluators per proposal. Each one of those evaluators will perform their individual evaluation, and after, one of the evaluators will perform a summary report that will be the one that will be used for the rest of the process. At the same time, the PAs are informed about those proposals that have partners of their countries, so that they can access the respective tools and give their feedback there. This feedback from the evaluators and the PAs is slightly different. The evaluators, the experts, give a feedback more from the perspective of technology, market, impact, and so on, and also from the international point of view of the consortium. And they assess if the consortium as a whole is able to achieve those objectives that they are stating in the proposal. And the PA's main objective, although some of them also perform an evaluation more on the technical side and so on, but the main objective is to see if those proposals have chances of getting funding when the national application comes. With the feedback of both the experts and the public authorities, we have a first joint meeting in the PO phase where each one of the proposals is discussed, and the aim of this joint meeting is to invite or not to invite those proposals to the FPP phase. The outcome of this meeting is sent to the consortia, and in this communication, the PAs involved in each one of the proposals are also copied. In this communication, we give suggestions and recommendations to those consortia that are invited to the FPP, so that they can implement those recommendations and suggestions in the FPP phase. From this moment on, consortia have about 2 to 3 months to prepare those FPPs, now full project proposals, with those suggestions and recommendations that they have received. And again, we come to the second deadline, which is the FPP deadline, and we start again more or less the same process. We run a first quick check on the proposals to see if the eligibility criteria are met, the big ones. we assign the proposals again to the experts. And here I have to say that we try to assign those proposals to the experts that have already evaluated the proposals in PO phase, so that they can see if the suggestions and recommendations have been taken into account and if there's an improvement on the proposal. And also the PAs are informed in parallel of the proposals that have partners of their countries. And with this, and after the evaluation period, we come to a second meeting where PAs and experts put together their feedback with the aim of giving a recommendation of labeling or not labeling those proposals. And I mentioned that it's a recommendation because the ultimate decision of labeling those proposals is taken by the boards of the boards or management committees of the different clusters. Again, we communicate that outcome to the different consortia, and now is the point for those consortia or projects. Right now, they become projects that they go to their national agencies to apply for funding. In these national applications, they can use that valuable feedback that they got in the report of the FPP phase to improve or to make amendments to the proposal so that they can maximize their chances of getting funding. And with that, this process would finish. Afterwards, we would see if the project is finally launched. Before finishing my explanation, I also want to mention that during all this process of preparing the proposals, cluster offices are there to give their support and guidance to the different consortia when preparing these proposals. And also for that purpose, we organize events such as the kickoff or launch events of the calls, sorry, and also the PO days where the communities of each cluster meet, industry, SMEs, academia, and they pitch their project ideas. They explain their expertise to the others so that they can form a consortium that will turn those ideas into a proposal. We also have PAs attending those events, and they give very valuable information on the national funding schemes for the members the members of their countries. And another one of other tools that also help this process are webinars or workshops that are prepared both by the cluster offices and also the public authorities. And that's all that I wanted to tell you here. Now, my colleague Xavier will take on from here, and he will explain you something about monitoring and the mentoring process. Thank you.
Thank you, Aritz, for this clear and very good description and explanation. And indeed, the word is for Xavier. While I continue to the next slide. And by the way, my name is Jan Jonker. I don't think I introduced myself. I'm Jan Jonker, from the Office Director from the ITEA Cluster on Software Innovation. Okay, Xavier, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Aritz, for the clear explanations before. I will try to be as clear as you were. So I'm Xavier Priem. I'm the Director of the Celtic Next cluster. And I will explain you here what happens after the labeling phase, meaning that the projects are getting financed. So from the submission and you have the labeling already acquired. Now you are starting the projects, and what we do with the projects after this is to review them, is to monitor them, and to mentor them. So the first topic, which is reviewing, because we don't think that a project can really run well if there's no check in the duration, during the duration of the project, to see if everything is going well. We organize reviews. There are 2 to 3 half-day reviews per project during its life. What we are looking at here is, in the vocabulary, sometimes we call them midterm review, final term review, or annual reviews, depending on the cluster and the position of those reviews in the life of a project. But in altogether, the target of those reviews is to improve and guide the consortia, not to punish them, of course, and not to find mistakes. We are more there to help them to see if they are delivering against the promise. That's effectively one of the roles, but not just judging on this, but trying to help them in case they face difficulties to achieve the targeted developments, impacts, and so on. So we have those reviews that we organize in advance. We have a first row of, let's say, experts that are looking at what the projects have prepared for those reviews. Usually we have deliverables, we have a self-assessment, this kind of documentation that is used by the experts, the cluster offices and the public authorities who attend to those review meetings, to assess where the project is, if there are difficulties, how we can help them, and so on. So on the D-Day, there's a half-day review, usually a half-day for the size of project that we have. And during this half-day, usually the projects are showing their deliverables. We do presentations about their achievements, the organization, the results. They do demonstrations sometimes, and they are able then to demonstrate what they have done. And this is very useful, those meetings, review meetings, because the paperwork does not always reflect what the projects have really been achieving in the period. So that's really important to know. So those reviews are then issuing a report, and this report is used by the projects to make an implementation of the recommendations that the experts, the cluster offices, and the public authorities have been able to draw from the review and from the reviewing documents, so that the project can have a better chance to fully achieve these targets at the end. And we have then finally a final review, which is happening at the end of the project. So this is what we do for the reviewing, the formal reviewing. Then we have also the possibility of monitoring and having progress reports that we can request. It could be requested. It depends on the office, project, the global will of the project and the reviewers. And this enables reviewers, public authorities, and cluster offices to get a clear picture of the project progress. So between those reviews, the current situation, the estimated risks, the challenges faced by the projects. So we evaluate the quality of the running projects and recommend potentially mitigating actions and or changes. This helps to have a continuous follow-up of the project, even between those reviews. And then something is detected as a problem or an evolution. It can be also a positive evolution. For example, the project during its dissemination has got some, let's say, traction on the community, and new partners want to join. They can also issue what we call a project change request in the clusters, which is the process we use to amend a running project into a new version of a project, taking into account what the project had to do to cope with problems or to evolve simply. So we are very flexible, and this project change request is a process that where the projects are issuing, okay, why they want to change something, what is the cause of the change requested, then they propose the change itself, what they do to adapt to the new situation, and we take that as well as with a new project description, amended to reflect those changes that could be applied, and we take that to our experts when needed, to the public authorities when needed, depending on the type of change and the specific case. And then we assess that like we would do for a proposal. We check if we accept, let's say if the changes are coherent, they are helping the project and everyone is fine with the change, then we can accept this project change request and send an official letter to the project, also validating in our tooling that the project has changed according to the new situation, the new changes, and we send an official letter. And the project that can then continue with the new conditions. And this is something that we do, and we communicate always to the public authorities involving this letter. And involving them when there's a change, for example, a big difficulty in the country or new countries coming in and so on. So this is about the monitoring and the potential progress reports in the meantime. And finally, we have the capacity to provide a designated mentor. It depends on the cluster, how we name him. But usually there are people that are also reviewers, so they know the project and they help coaching the project. So this mentor looks at matters through the lens of a reviewer, can give direction, guidance, advice, a go-to person for the project leader and the consortium. It can be an expert from the pool of reviewers, or it can be even an office member. So the goal is to have a project to succeed as best as it can. It's an additional help that we provide to the projects and the consortia. So I don't know if I was clear enough, probably a little bit fast, but we have a Q&A session to cover any question that you might still have about what we do during the life of a project. Thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. We will continue with Emilio. Emilio Molet. Emilio, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Ah, good, good. Welcome.
Let me share my screen.
Thank you for joining.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I do see your screen now, Emilio.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
So my name is Emilio Mulet. I'm from Spain. I work for Accuro Technology. We are a software developer from Madrid, and we have been participating in EUREKA clusters projects since 2018. My first project in 2018 was we mostly participate with ITEA projects because we are software developers. So this means we're very much interested in software cluster like ITEA, ITEA 4. And in 2018, when we first started participating in EUREKA clusters, we were invited to a project, and then for some circumstances we had to take the leadership and the coordination. So for me, my first project with ITEA, it was a big experience because suddenly I became the coordinator, and I learned a lot, and coaching was very important during that time. So Eric helped me very much at that time with coordination. So I want to give you some hints about project coordination. So it's very important for consortia to have a coordinator that really spends the time and the effort to work to follow the schedule, to organize and track the deliverables, monitor project cost, and keep all the stakeholders informed, and keep all the documents for project information, and organize regular meetings. So this was my work. Then we participated in 4 projects more of ITEA, and we recently finalized another project of ITEA, which I was also coordinator. So it's been a long time with ITEA team, and soon recently. Usually we had Eric as coach in our consortiums. Now in our last project we have Odgun, which is a great guy and really have an amazing experience with him. So I want to talk a little bit about the role of the coach. So for me as a project coordinator, in the beginning it was difficult to understand what is the role of the coach, but then this is why I want to give you some my opinion on not only I also want to talk not only about the coach, but I think also the national funding agencies. They have also in Spain we have Juana Sanchez, who is taking the role of kind of a coach, and she's giving us all kind of advice in the back office and how to manage all the paperwork and how to manage all the administrative different things in the administrative side. So I know CDTI is been helping us also very much. So also it's very important, not only the role of the coach from the EUREKA clusters, but also the role of the national contact point, which is also a very important figure in order to help with all the administrative works. So for us, from my experience, so as a coordinator, I had lots of difficulties, and sometimes I didn't use, especially in the beginning, the coach Eric at that time. He was there waiting for me, waiting to give me advice, but because I was new in this kind of consortium partnerships and projects, so sometimes I didn't use the coach as much as I should. But now after so many years, now I understand that coach is somebody that is there in the EUREKA, in the ITEA office in this case. So the coach is there to help us to reach success. And during the project, sometimes you forget the coach is there, and I think we should be talking more to the coach, because then we only remember the coach when the review comes. And when the review comes, then suddenly all the consortium comes crazy, and we need to show results, and we have to. So then the coach is very relevant at the reviews and the review phase, because you have to understand that the coach they are looking at many different projects all the time. So they really have an overview of other projects, a general overview. So it's very easy for them when they see your deliverables, when they see your reporting, then it's very easy for them to give you an advice on all the innovation, state of the art, exploitable results, technical value chain, market access. These topics are very, very key elements for the review, and we find out that the coach, they have a very global view on other projects. So many times they're very helpful to give you some advice on how to improve the quality of your reporting. So in our last project we had Ofgun, and yeah, we had a very good review with them. Final review, they came to Madrid. We spent together in Madrid few days. We had time before to prepare the review, and Odgun was there to let us know the opinion, the point of view, and well, we had a successful review. And another thing for the coach is very useful and very important is for during the project there are also many change requests. So for the change request, you also need some advice. Because you need advice. Sometimes it's a minor change request. Sometimes it's a major change request. So it depends. Is a change on the consortium members? Is a change on task, efforts, change on the deliverables, time schedule. So the coach also is important and relevant in order to advise during all these change requests. Thank you, Jan. Also now we submitted new project in the last call for ITEA, and we very happy to work together with CDTI and ITEA cluster. So we wish we can continue with many successful projects together. Thank you, Jan.
Okay. Thank you, Emilio. And as I understood, you're also active in other EUREKA clusters, right? Such as SMART.
Well, we had one project. We had one project with SMART with ARITS, but because we are software developer, we mainly participate in ITEA. ITEA is our main, it's our main cluster. But yeah, Industry 4.0 is also a relevant topic. So yeah, we participated with the smart cluster with Aritz, and Aritz was our coach. So he also was our coach, and yeah, we had since he's Spanish, it's much easier when you have a national coach. And yeah, of course, with Aritz, we have a great experience, of course.
Okay, thank you, Emilio. I would like to continue with Paul Merkers from the Technical University Eindhoven. I see you on the screen. Hello, Paul.
Yes, hello.
Yes, could you please take the floor?
Yeah, well, I have been asked to tell a bit about my own experiences as an expert evaluator in the EUREKA context. So let me briefly introduce myself. I worked for 30 years at Philips Electronics. And back in 1999, I joined ITEA 1 Call 1. So that really dates back to the very start of ITEA as a project manager. I was a development manager by then, but as a kind of hobby activity, I got involved in a collaborative project and really got the hang of it. And then became project leader of another ITEA project in ITEA 2 or so. What was it? And in 2007, I changed job to really become a professional person in the area of consortium forming and project development in the internal support office of Philips. And as such, I joined the Medea steering group in those days, soon to be followed by the Katrine steering group and then the Penta technical expert group. And today it's the XSCS group, and I did several dozens or maybe 100 project evaluations over all those years. I was also active in ITEA in parallel. I was member of the ITEA steering group in 2017 and 16 and 17. And I've been active as a mentor. I've been active as an evaluator. I've been active as a reviewer. I was also active as an evaluator for the Excel program and even ENIAC and later Excel, and also in the Horizon program. So yeah, my hobby turned into my job to be active in project definition, project evaluation, project progress review, all the aspects of what is a good project and what is a bad project. Innovation project, of course. So I understand now this call is to also share experiences from the various EUREKA clusters. So I can only testify from my experience from both ITEA and Enea's side, Katrine, Medea, Katrine, Penta, XSCS, that it is a great process because such a steering group or a technical expert group is indeed a group of experts, a group of peers working for the majority in industry, being active in innovation themselves, and in the same time you review, you evaluate proposals in which you, of course, have no direct influence. There is a strict habit that, of course, whenever there is a conflict of interest, you are not assigned as evaluator of that proposal. So mostly it's proposals of partners that are really far off. Nevertheless, as you are active yourself in innovation, you can indeed imagine what it is that the other proposal writers are proposing and making the right judgment call. And I really believe that we as experts are true experts because we are all doing it ourselves. And that is maybe not always the case, for instance, when it comes to Horizon evaluations, where I also participated. You see a higher percentage of academic reviewers. Well, I'm currently employed by a university, so I seem to have changed into an academic person, but I really believe that there is a difference between people from industry and people from academia, and that the industry people know how hard it is to really finish innovation, and that academia are better in starting innovation. But the hardest part is often at the end, is my personal feeling. I do not always make friends with my colleagues at the university here, but I believe that the TRL scale is easy to start and is hard to finish. And I think the power of the EUREKA clusters is that they bring that together, and that it's industry driven, and that industry experts are evaluating it. And of course, we are pride enough to make sure we do that in an ethically viable way by taking care of the conflict of interest that might be there. But I think it also makes us better experts. And of course, the best experts are participating in the project. So you are always second rank as expert, because the true experts who are really at the front line of a certain topic are the ones proposing this new proposal to really advance the state of the art even further. So you have to realize that as expert evaluator, you come close to that expertise. And you can judge a proposal on its merits and on the consistency and on the conciseness of the description and the completeness and the balance. But every proposal is written by the true experts themselves in the project. So there is also something to take into account. I think what makes EUREKA unique with respect to, for instance, the European Commission funded projects like Horizon and Excel KDT is the element of the mentor, where we also assign one of the experts to help the project and not to be a critical friend or an opponent as an evaluator, but also be a friend and helping the project in preparing it, but also helping it through the reviews. And that leads to, I think, very high-level discussions among the experts, the ones that are critically reviewing it and the ones that are kind of defending it. So, and in the Netherlands, there is a saying that when two knowledgeable people get and argue, the best reasoning is done, or something like that. And I really believe in that. There are always two sides to a proposal. It's a great proposition. However, and then there are some always drawbacks and limitations, but to have the right discussion among experts really helps the proposal further. And that's also why I'm a strong proponent of the two-stage submission process, that the project outlines gets critically reviewed, so that as experts, we provide the maximum of suggestions to make sure that the full project proposal is really at a higher quality level. So that is my experience and how I believe in the strengths of the industry-driven EUREKA clusters. But I'm open to any questions on that or disagreements.
Thank you, Paul, for this clear explanation. Okay, we come to the last part, the question and answer, Q&A. So who would like to ask any questions? I don't think I've seen any questions in the chat. Was it that clear? No one any question?
And if you have any questions later, of course, please feel free to approach us.
I see Mike. Mike is raising his hand. Mike, you have a question. Go ahead, Mike.
You invited for questions. I always have some. Since there are some people around the table with experience with the project, what is your experience with funding perspective on countries? Can you speedily project, or do you have to wait? So what about funding from the different countries that are involved in the project?
The question was a bit hard for me to exactly hear because of an echo, Mike. I don't know if anyone could hear it well. Any one of my colleagues that could give a first.
We didn't hear it at all.
I think the question is about the
sound
experiences in the funding and the synchronization process, right, Mike? So
Yes.
is this a question to us at the cluster office, or rather to Emilio, who is one of the project?
I think to Emilio and Paul.
To the project partner.
Yes.
Yes.
To Emilio. Okay, Emilio.
Can you repeat the question, please, Nadja?
Yeah, the question is about the funding. So being in a consortium with members from different countries, then also the decision timelines in the different countries for the funding is different, and then it might have an impact on the project start or whatsoever. So what is your experience there?
So my experience is that you have to be patient, and this program is bottom up. So this is a big difference between other programs, European programs. So, and it's a very high tier Ls. So yes, it could be an issue. So in Spain, for instance, they have a new rule that longer than 6 months, the label cannot be, you cannot enter the project. So what they're trying is to cut the time. So we had a discussion the other day with Juana, and everybody is concerned about this issue because they don't want, since these are innovation projects, they really want the consortiums to be able to submit the national proposal in order to get funding as soon as possible. So yeah, this is an issue, and everybody has to work on it. And in my opinion, what we do is we try to engage countries that we already know that they have a call for proposals nearby. So for instance, you have to know which countries are promoting, which countries are going to open a call for proposals for the calls. For instance, Celtic, the other day, we had a meeting with the Celtic guys. So the Celtic guys, they're giving us advice. This country, they promise they're going to open a call for proposals. So then we talk to partners in those countries, and we try to build a consortium, which at least we know for sure that 60 or 70% of the partners, they are going to be able to submit a national proposal, submit a national project within 6, 7, 8, 9 months. So in our case, we participate a lot in the ITEA projects, and we work a lot with Portugal. In my opinion, Spain is the best. They have the best national funding scheme. Portugal have a very good national funding scheme. Turkey, Tubitech from Turkey, they have a very good funding scheme. We really try with the Netherlands, difficult, but yeah, we try to get partners from the Netherlands. It's not easy. We try Germany, it's not easy. France, forget, I never worked with France. I don't know if they never been funded in EUREKA clusters. Italy, impossible. Finland is a good country. They have a good funding scheme, and Sweden, we tried. Sweden, I'm not sure. But yeah, Spain, for definitely, if you want to submit a EUREKA clusters project, count on the Spanish consortium. It's a high probability that the Spanish consortium gets access to national funding. And another advantage of CDTI, Spanish agency, is that it's an open call 12 months a year. So that means it's not a deadline. It's not a specific call for proposals with a specific date, a deadline. So you can submit as a Spanish partner, you can submit all year round.
I think you're from Spain, Emilio, right?
Yeah, I'm from Spain. I've participated already in about seven EUREKA clusters project. Juana is
I know.
tired of listening to my voice, but because we always ask for support from CDTI. But yeah, CDTI is very
anyway. Emilio, many headaches.
Many headaches.
By the way, you mentioned, Emilio, you mentioned France. You said, I don't know if they support EUREKA clusters, but France used to be a very big supporter of the clusters and even the biggest of IT. Yeah, and we are sort of expecting or hoping that France will be back on the EUREKA cluster stage on short notice. We're working on it. So be prepared, I would say, and we have good hopes. Any other questions?
Yes, not questions.
Yeah, Xavier, your hand is raised. Yeah, I see now. Yeah, go ahead.
So it was said that two-step process is bringing quality. Yes, but we are also an exception with CETIC-NEXT. We have a one-step process, which does not mean that it's not a qualitative proposal that we get. I just want to explain just rapidly to avoid any confusion. Our community is used to apply to frameworks like framework programs from the European Commission, Horizon Europe, and 2020 and so on. So they are used to deliver a qualitative proposal in one step. And they were at the origin of the request, so that CETIC is proposing 2 calls per year, each time with a one-step process. And if you fail in the one call, in 6 months later, you can reapply. So just to precise that and to avoid any confusion and any wrong image of a one-step process. Thank you.
Thank you for this additional explanation, Xavier. I have a question for Paul, Paul Merkens. With all your experience on reviewing, mentoring, coaching, etc., can you tell us something about the openness of the communities, the cluster communities, and your experiences with, let's say, very experienced project partners as well as newcomers? Maybe you can elaborate a bit on that.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a mix. So indeed, there are the usual suspects. There are parties that have discovered EUREKA and understand well the strength and how to benefit from it and keep coming back. And there are newcomers that discover it every now and then. To a certain extent, EUREKA clusters are kind of a secret to many people. So it's kind of a discovery project if you really understand. And it's rather complicated with the different public authorities making different and independent decisions. So that is a threshold and for some to enter the stage. But it is, of course, it is open. It is definitely open. If it would not seem open, that would be a misunderstanding because it's open calls and anybody can apply. Having said that, it's also good to have some experience or to have some experienced players on board. So you see that newcomers typically hook on to somebody else's proposal. And if they got the hang of it themselves, then in the next round or year, they can become the prime person, coordinator, submitting a proposal. There is some overhead involved, of course, but that is comparable or less to what the overhead is in other programs, which makes it always a bit hard to get enough SME involvement. We try to stimulate that as much as we can, and it's also good that the big ones take the little ones help them, in fact, who cannot afford the investment it takes before you get a running project. So I believe it's a mixture of experienced people coming back because they benefit from the success and want to prolong it, and newcomers joining the club. But as an expert evaluator, I've seen a lot of lousy proposals by newcomers. Yeah, I mean, there is something to learn. Writing a good proposal is you do not know that up front. You have to learn it. And in that sense, that's also why I just said I like the double two-stage submission, because if you can give critical feedback to a project outline to say, yeah, you seem to be a newcomer, you come with some innovation, you forget to explain the problem. So how can we appreciate your solution because it's not clear who you are helping or how this would really resolve something? You can give feedback like that and say, please describe in a more structured way what is the issue you want to address and why is your innovation really helping there. And then the newcomers become experienced in making decent proposals that are indeed worth funding because they are well described and organized. That an answer to your question?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Paul. Anyone else who would like to raise a question? See no hands in the chat. By the way, I see a good participation at this moment. We have 43
Jan,
people in the room. Emilio?
I have a suggestion. Since national agencies are so relevant in this program, maybe you should or we should try to engage national agencies for some kind of meetings in order to explain about the national funding schemes. So because for instance, I didn't know France is going to start promoting again participation in EUREKA clusters. So of course, this is good news, but you know, if once or twice a year you could get together some members of national agencies to talk about the plans or the schemes, or like Juana Sanchez is here today, and she's also always very active participating in all these events. Maybe you can reinforce the participation of other national agencies in these kind of meetings.
Emilio, yeah, just take into account that in every call, the public authorities used to talk. For example, in the next brokerage event of Celtic, there is a space for the public authorities. So they always give information about the active or the countries who is going to provide funding for each call. So yeah, this is something that normally this information is provided every call for the clusters, but
yeah, we are looking forward to the Celtic event. It's promising event, Xavier. it's I think it's going to be very successful.
Yeah,
it looks like.
Hopefully, yeah. We had good.
Yeah, I heard about German authorities promoting this Celtic call.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we all do the same and really give all the necessary information on country participation, on the funding programs to our participants. This is what all clusters do because this is in our interest.
Yeah, we have separate presentations during our PO days, for example. Last year we had 12 different countries that participated. So we do indeed what we can make information as clear and accessible as possible regarding all the country opportunities and conditions.
Yeah, I know.
I saw that France is also present today, by the way. That's a good sign. Yeah.
Who is the
Camille,
French authority?
Camille Tang is participating today.
Oh, Camille.
Hello.
Nice to meet you, Camille.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice that you're joining.
Yes.
Bonjour.
Thank you. Yes, I was actually writing a message to Emilio. If you need to have any further information on French funding systems, you can write to me. We have several schemes to help to support French firms.
Yeah, we are, since Spain and France have a very close commercial relationships, we're always looking forward to have cooperation with neighbor countries like France.
Yeah, sure. Do not hesitate.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that 2024 is going to be a relevant year for French participants. We're looking forward for a French consortium, for a consortium with French partners.
Camille, this
In the
is
meantime,
Peter Bendis from Canada. Could you put your email in the chat?
Your question was addressed to
Camille.
Okay, to Camille, right? Yeah, okay, yeah, clear. In the meantime, I see that there have been some more questions and remarks made in the chat. For example, information about the countries that support the clusters. Nadia already answered this question. Indeed, the different websites and contact persons give more information about which countries are supporting which clusters. Okay, I see it's 2 minutes before 3, so the last burning question can still be asked before we close this session. If not, I think we had a tight planning and we are just within the scheduled time. No one.
Thank you all.
Then, yeah, exactly, Emilio. That's what I wanted to say too. Thank you all. For participating, for the presentations, and I hope it gives you some more background information about how the clusters are working and doing their different processes. Okay, I wish you a very pleasant and fruitful day, and hope to see you soon again.
Thank you very much.
Bye all.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.